Thank you all for being flexible and joining us at this meeting this morning. We had an administrative glitch the other night, and that's why we're meeting now. We've got an agenda that's been provided to everybody. I'd like to get a motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Aye.
Okay.
All in favor?
Wait. Mr. Chairman, you need to announce, because we're doing remote, who seconded, who made the motion, who seconded, and the.
Okay, Jamie,
And all votes have to be taken by roll call.
good.
Jamie Gilmore seconded.
Who made the motion?
Who made the motion?
Or did you make the motion?
I made the motion, Jamie seconded. Okay. All the votes that we take today will have to be by roll call. So I'm going to call each person's name, and you say either yay or nay.
Do you want me to do it?
Okay, the reason for this morning's meeting is the coronavirus. The state funding, we don't know what it is yet, but we know that it's probably going to be less than last year. And with the Capital Forecast Committee, or Financial Forecast Committee, we considered four scenario. No change in state funding.
Is someone moving around? It seems like there's a lot of noise. There, that's better.
Okay. 5% decrease, 10% decrease, 15% decrease. The committee voted to accept the 10% decrease in state funding. So we're here to talk about that and the ramifications of that. We don't have minutes to be approved, so why don't we move on to annual town meeting Article 4? Nancy, are you going to do that, or Jim?
I'm going to defer to the.
Jim?
I'll move over here, 'cause I don't like to yell. You had
Just
the-
1 second. Did somebody else just join us?
Yes, this is Lincoln here. Can you hear me?
I got you, Lincoln. Thank you.
Lincoln, how are you? You
Good,
have
how are
voted
you?
the,
Mike Westord's there too.
hey, Mike,
Mike?
Mike's here too.
And how about Patrice?
I'm here.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. We have a full committee, given the fact that Andrew has resigned to become selectman.
So we had a 10% reduction in state aid from current budget levels is about a $1.5 million total reduction in spending. Based on the formula Scituate uses, $500,000 of that comes out of the town side of government. The first 370 some odd, which you see on your sheet, are those budget revisions we put in when we upped our local aid number and we upped our new growth number based on final numbers. So obviously, those are the first to come out. And then on the back of that page are the additional reductions that we are recommending at this point. They include waiting to fill a couple positions, not replacing one of the cruises, and eliminating library hours on Sunday until January 21st.
Jim, what
Chairman,
is,
may I ask a quick? Oh, go ahead, Jerry. Sure.
Jim, can you address contractual bargaining, 63,000?
So we put that in, and we have all our bargaining contracts are up, so we put some extra money in there. There is money in the budget lines for bargaining. Right now, bargaining is mostly suspended because of COVID. So between what's in the budgets and what's in my contractual bargaining, we should have sufficient money if and when we settle these contracts.
Any other questions from the committee?
Yeah, I just got a quick question. Did the library pick Sunday, or did we? Like, did we ask them if they'd rather be closed Monday? Does it make a difference?
We picked the
Which day
Sundays
for
because
traffic?
the Sunday's the most bang for our buck, Mike. It's time and it's double time
Double time.
on Sundays, so that's our biggest
Gotcha.
savings with our least impact on services.
Okay, makes sense. Got it.
Mr. Chairman, this is Lincoln. Just obviously, it's up to the Financial Forecasting Committee, to come up with what the projections are for local aid. I just wanted to get a little bit of input from the members of that committee here about how 10% was picked. So it's 10% both for Chapter 70 and unrestricted, correct?
Yeah, it's a 10% flat cut.
Right, amongst both categories, amongst
Correct.
those two categories, I should say.
Well, all categories, yep.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, obviously, I know Jim and Nancy, you know this as well, if not better than I do, but obviously I'm sure you look back historically, we were looking at 10% on Chapter 70 and 20% on unrestricted, since that's sort of historically back with the last recession. The biggest cut was 29%. I know, again, obviously it's up to the Financial Forecasting Committee to come up with that, but I just wanted to see if we could get a little bit more of a sense, I read the minutes of the committee, but a little bit more of a sense of how those reductions were arrived at.
Actually, the Financial Forecast Committee meeting from May 15th was broadcast. It's on YouTube, and there was
Okay.
a presentation on it, and we looked at the historical impacts from 2008 forward on state aid, and that's part of what we used to factor in our decision in the June 9th meeting.
Okay, thank you, Nancy.
Um,
Do we know, do we have a sense, obviously that's for the schools to determine, but do we have a sense about how they're going to address their $1 million reduction?
Well, they have not given any notifications of layoffs at this point, I believe. And those were due on this past Monday, so I believe they're gonna handle it
Yep.
through furloughs and discussions with their unions.
Okay, yeah, they didn't issue any layoffs, basically. right?
Not that I'm aware of.
So the discussions with the unions, would that include the elimination of professional days?
That's between the schools and their unions. I haven't been privy to those negotiations.
Are we going to review what they decide to change, or just going to come up at town meeting?
You really don't have any input on what they decide, Mike? You just give them their bottom line and they can do what they want with it.
Hi, this
but
is
they-
Elise. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
But they're going to, so they're just going to announce it at town floor? Like, we decided to eliminate 3 teachers, or we decided to cut this?
Well, again, if they were going to eliminate positions, the layoff notices would have had to have gone out this past Monday. I'm not aware of any notices having gone out this past week to teachers. But it is in their purview and the purview of the school committee as to where they get their savings from. You can make recommendations, but it's up to them. They're not bound by those.
Hey, Mike, our committee, it's top line. So if we're going to have a budget shortfall of approximately $1.5 million, 2/3 of that goes to school, 1/3 of it is town. We have the ability, we don't even have the ability to opine on that. That's the way we operate.
No, I get that, but like, if they're doing reductions that we didn't agree to, usually we would discuss them and then say, okay, we don't approve the budget, or we do approve the budget. Like, we don't even know what to say, whether we approve it or don't approve it. We don't know what they're doing, right?
Well,
I get it's a
that-
top line number and they get to do what they want, but what if we don't agree with what they're doing and we wouldn't agree with the top line? I guess,
It's not our
Sometimes we just
responsibility, it's the responsibility of the school committee.
Yeah, can I jump in here? I mean, on the Capitol, I was on the Capitol Committee call Monday night, and there was a lot of heated discussion about how can we cut $1 million out of the school budget, blah, 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 what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I think, I agree with everything that's being said. I just think that we want to anticipate that people could really not be happy with finding out sort of at town meeting and not knowing the details until that day or something like that. I mean, I just got the sense that there was going to be reaction to that.
I believe they're meeting in between, aren't they? I think they're meeting next week, so.
Okay, good.
Hey, Mike, can I just chime in here? Certainly, it would certainly be I would say, obviously the school committee can do what they want with it, but certainly it would be pretty wise of them to have some sort of plan to tell the town meeting, but we'll see if they do or they don't, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but obviously they should, right? So.
Right.
Yeah, I believe that's the
I guess my
discussion
question
this
is, if
week.
they don't tell us, are we gonna revote their line item budget? Just say, no, we don't agree, or no? I guess we can't revote the line items, they get to do what they want, right? Doesn't
That's
matter,
right.
they get their money, so even if we don't agree with it, doesn't make a difference, does it?
You can't tell them where to spend their money. So if you want them to hire a fifth grade teacher and they want to hire a paraprofessional at the high school, then they're going to hire the paraprofessional at the high school. It's the statutory right, that's a bottom line budget.
Okay.
Okay, that should be fun.
Yeah.
But Mike, I mean, are you suggesting, Mike, that their reduction should be bigger or less as the top line number?
No, I just wanna know what they are.
Yeah, the details.
Well, we don't know. Right, we don't know.
Excuse me, this is Jamie Gilmore. I think we're talking around in circles here. The law is the law. And it would behoove them, of course, to be open and transparent and communicative to the citizenry. But that's not for discussion here. We're here to talk about $1 million cut due to COVID and a $500,000 cut due to COVID on the town. That's all we're here for, is not to get into the minutia of how the school committee does its business, really, with all due respect to everybody.
I agree with Jamie. If there are there any other discussion items other than the school budget? If not, I'd like to take a roll call vote as to whether we approve this. So, Dan McGuigan, yea or nay?
Yay.
Linda Ferguson?
Okay.
Do I need them to say their name, or can I say their name?
You need a motion and a second, and then
Okay.
you call them out individually.
Can I have a motion to vote on the fiscal 21 budget revisions, annual town meeting, Article 4,
As presented.
as presented? Can I have a motion,
Move.
please?
Was that
I move. Please.
That was Elise.
Thank you, Elise. Second?
Patrice, second.
Thank you. Okay, Dan McGuigan.
Yes.
Thank you. Linda Ferguson.
Yes.
Jamie Gilmore.
Aye.
Elise Russo.
Aye.
Lincoln Heineman.
Aye.
Mike Westhorpe.
Aye.
Patrice Metro.
Aye.
I declare it unanimous.
And yourself.
Jerry Kelly, aye. Okay, we're moving on to annual town meeting, Article 3, capital, fiscal year 21, capital plan revisions.
So the capital plan revisions are not, they're a lot of money, but they're not huge impact projects. The first one is the third cliff revetment, $12 million of borrowing, that's FEMA funds. That project is now significantly tied up in the alphabet soup of red tape between the Army Corps, CZM, fisheries, you name it. So that project is delayed at least a year because we have to do some new permitting and modeling. So we're recommending that $12 million come off. The Egypt Beach berm, we had $1 million. That construction has gone, that construction contract has been let. We've accommodated the town share through April 2019 foreshore funds. So we don't need these funds now, that's ready to go, and we're gonna be rolling some in the neighborhood of 400 or 500 trucks down Surfside Lane this summer. So if you're in that neighborhood, stay off Surfside. The Minor Beach parking lot, right now, our beach revenues have not met forecasts. We also are anticipating significantly increased costs this summer for COVID with PPEs and stuff, cleaning of facilities. We're not going to do that project now anyways. Obviously, we're not going to close the Minor Beach parking lot this summer. So the idea is to put that off until the fall. revisit the revenues, and then we can appropriate money at the fall and do it next spring. And then the tractor at the transfer station revenues are lagging, I think, fairly significantly at this point. We're probably gonna need the retained earnings to help cover the budget, and that would not really leave sufficient retained earnings for safety purposes for budget to purchase the truck at this time, so we want to take that off too.
Any discussion?
Capital Planning Committee did meet and vote on these changes on June 16th and voted 3-1 in favor. And the selectmen discussed them at their June 17th meeting and voted unanimously in favor.
Nancy, may I ask if it was verbalized in a coherent fashion? May I ask what the concern was from the one person who, from capital planning, who was not in favor of these revisions?
Sure. The dissenting vote was specifically about the Minot Beach parking lot. That person was just concerned that parking lot needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. And they understood that it wasn't going to be done at this time of the year anyways, but they just wanted that funding in place so that it could be done as soon as the season was over.
Yeah, I think there was a fear that that money would go to something else. I got that sense from the person.
So the third cliff, $12 million. Does that then become a fiscal '22 expense?
Potentially.
Not an expense, but a vote, yeah, potentially. Seeing where we are. Like, we've had, CZM's required all new modeling out there, and that's gonna take quite a while, and then when that comes back, we may have to re-engineer it, so we'll put it back on for next year. Whether we're gonna do it, can't tell you.
Okay, any other discussion?
Jamie Gilmore here. What about the residents of Third Cliff? What is their reaction going to be to this delay in the $12 million package? Is that something anybody should be concerned with?
We are unable to move forward. We cannot get permits. So that's the problem. We are being denied permits until we do this additional modeling by coastal zone management, and FEMA refuses to approve the project without coastal zone management's approval of it. So as Jim said, we're stuck in a mire of bureaucracy at this point.
So Nancy, in essence, what I'm interpreting from that is that we are still in a positive direction with this. It's just yet another another grade of hoops and walls to cross to get to this thing. So that's why it's moving till next year.
Right. There's a lot of positive forward movement on it, more so than the last few years.
Yeah.
There was a meeting of about 5 or 6 different state agencies and federal agencies at the EOC about 3 months ago, and the RFP for the new modeling is out right now. And we've, as of this morning, had 45 firms take out the RFP.
Very well.
Wow.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jamie, people that I've talked to on Third Cliff obviously are concerned with the continued deterioration of the revetment and the erosion that will take place, and the longer you delay that, the worse it gets. But
Yep.
the federal government is the federal government. We can't move them. Okay, any other discussion on the capital plan revisions for fiscal year '21? Seeing no discussion on, pardon me?
Jamie Gilmore, motion to accept is written.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Second.
Okay, who was that seconded?
Dan McGuigan?
Dan McGuigan, thank you. Okay, we're going to go through with the roll call vote again. And we're voting on the fiscal year '21 capital plan revisions as written, which is the annual town meeting, Article 3. Dan McGuigan,
Yay.
Linda Ferguson,
Yay.
Jamie Gilmore,
Aye.
Elise Russo,
Aye.
Lincoln Heineman,
Aye.
Mike Westort,
Aye.
Patrice Metro,
Aye.
Jerry Kelly, aye. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the fiscal year 21 Community Preservation Act changes to set-asides, annual town meeting, Article 12.
Want me to do that one, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please, and we're looking at Dan Fennelly's email on this?
Yes, so normally we use the state match as provided by the Department of Revenue Division of Local Services. This year, they did not provide any guidance when CPC was going through their recommendations. So we used the Community Preservation Coalition's estimate of 37.2%, which was higher because they raised the fees in December. In May, the Division of Local Services issued an advisory that they thought that due to the pandemic, the actual reimbursement rate would be 11.2%, which is dramatically different. I reported that back to Chairman Fennelly. CPC did meet and they revised their set-asides down at their May meeting. So for the 10% for historic resources, open space, and community housing were originally proposed at $230,483. They reduced them down to $187,561 each. And then on the administrative expenses, they reduced them from $57,621 to $46,890. They still had sufficient funds to move forward with all of their recommended projects, so there were no changes to those.
Any discussion?
Wait, can I just ask, so just the yellow on the chart is what's being cut?
That's the
Not, in other words, are we still going forward with the Mordecai Lincoln? Is that what we're saying here?
Yep, all the projects are still fine. They have plenty of funding. They were just reducing the set-aside
Great.
based on the reduced revenue.
Excellent, thank you for that, good.
Any further discussion? Okay.
Motion to accept as written. Jamie?
Okay, second?
Second.
Second was whom?
Dan McGuigan?
Thank you,
Fair
Dan.
to say.
Okay, so we're going to now vote upon fiscal year 2021 Community Preservation Act changes to the set-asides, which is annual town meeting Article 12. Dan McGuigan,
Yay.
Linda Ferguson,
Yay.
Jamie Gilmore,
Aye.
Elise Russo,
Aye.
Lincoln Heineman,
Aye.
Mike Westort,
Aye.
Patrice Metro,
Aye.
Jerry Kelly, aye. Okay, I declare it unanimous. We're now moving on to discuss and vote upon recommendations of other special town meeting and annual town meeting articles.
Only if you have any, sir.
Pardon me?
It's only if you have any. So we have nothing further, but if the committee wishes to revisit anything,
Does the committee want to revisit any of the articles in the special town meeting or annual town meeting that's scheduled for June 27th?
Mr. Chairman, I'm just trying to pull up our booklet, and I'm trying to remind myself, I think there was at least one that we did not have a recommendation on because we were waiting. And I'm sorry, I can't find the booklet right now. Does anybody remember what that is?
No, but this is Elise, I thought I saw something that postponed a number of articles. Didn't I see like an attachment that came out that postponed a number of the discussions.
So here's what we're planning for the town meeting. The special town meeting will go forward as it always does. There's only 4 articles, one of which is Cedar Point. That's probably gonna generate some discussion, so, the special will
Yeah.
be the 4 articles, 1, 2, 3, 4. The annual town meeting, what I proposed and what the board voted is that the articles that would be left out for debate would be Article 3, 4, and 12, which is the capital budget, the annual budget, and the CPC article. All the other articles would either be on our regular consent to be passed agenda or on a consent to be postponed agenda.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm reacting to. Yep.
Yeah, and as always, the moderator will go through, he will read each article number, and if someone wishes to hold it, it comes off the consent
Right.
agenda and it goes back for debate.
Okay, I see, okay.
So the
So it
thought
doesn't
is,
necessarily- we don't know for sure they're coming off until such time as it's presented at town meeting.
right.
Okay.
The thought is, the
Thank-
town meeting is ready to do stuff of an immediate nature that we need to get done, to do the stuff of a
Yeah.
routine nature, and anything that we think can wait, we're gonna wait.
I think that's very smart, Jim. Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry, Jim, you said that the Article 12 is not on the consent agenda. Is that
Article,
correct?
Article 3, 4, and 12 are not on either consent agenda.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I would only say that, especially for the petition articles, I understand the reasoning, but for the petition articles, I think it would certainly be, and obviously there's a question directly to the selectmen, I guess, but I think it'd be great to get it in writing from this current Board of Selectmen that they would intend to put all of those back on a future town meeting without the petitioners having to go out and get signatures again. I think that would be unfair. Do you know if have they discussed that? If the answer is I don't know.
I'd have to put it to the board. My conversation with them was that we would put them on. They could always change their mind. The Right to Farm petitioner actually sent us an email asking to withdraw it, because it's a petition article, and because we've already gone to print, you can't withdraw it. But that went right onto the consent agenda. I mean, the other one is the Medicare for All.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to be sitting out there in the sun, in a crowd, at least in my opinion, debating an article that has absolutely no bearing on anything that we're doing. It's non-binding. It doesn't impact the day-to-day operations of the town. Would the board put it on? Probably, yeah, but I don't have a definite yes or no on that, Lincoln.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I agree.
And is the room tax
Email
now
them and tell them that I
sponsored
think they
by
should
the
do that.
selectmen?
The room tax bill that was sponsored by the selectmen is on the consent to be passed agenda.
Okay, thank you.
The room tax article that was a petition is on the consent to postpone agenda, because we already would have passed it previously.
Got it.
Not gonna vote that
The
twice.
sign bylaw currently isn't being enforced at all, or in some parts of it are, or, I mean, what's,
The parts that we can legally enforce are being enforced. The political signs are basically the issue, Lincoln, and
yeah,
we don't have a local election. I mean, we have the federal elections, but we don't see a lot of signs for those anyways. So we can get it done in the fall for the spring.
right. But I mean, at the current moment, the parts of the sign bylaw that talk about political signs are not being enforced, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on the STM and ATM articles?
Okay, can I just ask one other quick question?
Yeah.
Jim, so obviously it's up to the Board of Selectmen as to whether or not they would include this on a future town meeting warrant. But I mean, is the discussion that they would include it on a fall town meeting warrant, or wait a whole year until the annual?
Well, we really haven't had the discussion, Lincoln, because we don't know if we can have a fall town meeting.
Yep.
I mean, I would put them on the fall
Okay.
town meeting if we have one, but we don't know what's gonna happen yet in terms of the virus, in terms of guidance, so, obviously, a fall
Yep.
town meeting would probably have to be inside, unless we had outdoor fire pits for everybody to keep warm by. Until
We can have it at the gun club.
yeah,
You could have the Hummerock bonfires.
Until we see what's happening with COVID, I can't say. My recommendation would be put it on whatever the next available town meeting is, but, again, in terms of that
Yep.
petition article, I don't
Yep.
see there's any big hurry, because for the town of Scituate, it's completely non-binding.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So I guess my question to Nancy is, we now need to discuss and vote on recommendations on the STM and ATM articles, and then we need to discuss and vote on any changes to the advisory committee booklet.
So it sounds like you don't have any other changes to the STM or ATM articles. The advisory committee booklet, I made some amendments to it in draft form. The issue we have is trying to provide something to the voters that they can reasonably look at. I don't know if the committee is willing to yield to the chairman of the committee to decide what changes need to be made. What I had done is put a preface on the front of it saying why there was an amended booklet being posted with the new location, the new date and time, and then the three revised articles were included, all in red ink, with your recommendations and votes today, and the comments that were included in what was sent out to you, depending on what you want to do going forward. And then I included a new forecast from the Financial Forecast Committee in front of the old one. And at the back of it, I put the consent agenda, the consent postponement agenda, and added to the table of contents, specifically calling out those three revised articles and the pages they were on, all in red print, so that someone could actually navigate through your booklet and find all the changes. But still it doesn't remove anything that was in the original booklet, because that was your posted booklet. It's been posted since March. But we would like to take this to the printer, but I need to take it to the printer today in order to do that, in order to get them back before town meeting. That doesn't mean you have to take action today. We can figure something else out if you don't want to take action today. But we do want to repost it for the public to take a look at as soon as possible, because there are substantive changes that would, that people should have a chance to take a look at and digest.
So before we move on to the advisory committee booklet, I'd like a motion from somebody to, for the vote on the STM and ATM articles as written that we just discussed. Would somebody make a motion for the vote?
Mr. Chairman, Jamie Gilmore here. Why would we need to vote on something that is really administrative?
I don't think you have to.
Pardon me?
I think you're good. I don't think you need, Jamie said I don't think you need to vote.
Okay, Jamie, thank you. Changes to
You're
the,
welcome, Mr. Chairman.
changes to the advisory committee booklet. Any discussion here? We're in a time crunch here, so Nancy, I'll review it and get back to you with any concerns I have, okay? Today. Fiscal year 20,
Just briefly, we still would like to see another $800,000 to $1 million in tax revenue come in. We did delay the tax due date to June 1st, and demands are now out on those taxes. Local receipts, the forecast has been met. 4 of the 5 enterprise funds, including the golf course enterprise fund, have met their annual revenue projections, so that's good. And we've had all departments on basically a spending freeze since March, where they could only expend funds for continuing operations and or COVID-19 response. And we've processed 2 reimbursement requests to Plymouth County. A third one will be going out today for access to the coronavirus relief funds as part of the CARES Act. And to date, we've received $139,000. And $58,000 was the second request, and today's request is about $26,000.
and is that it, or is there more?
There'll be more. but that particular pot is only open for expenses through June 30th. Plymouth County hasn't opined as to what will happen for expenses after June 30th.
Okay. Any discussion? Nancy, thank you for the update. Year-end transfers.
Okay, so we had one year-end transfer. I had to add a second one yesterday because, that's just the way it works. The first one to discuss was to transfer funds from the Board of Health salaries, which has funds remaining in their salary lines because of a vacancy for the director, for the social services manager, to the facilities budget for $10,000 in overtime. They had increased costs when they had a leave situation in that department, plus the fact that they do have additional work, so they have additional overtime costs. And then $28,000 for the public safety communications overtime, which is dispatch. Again, they are still having problems getting a full complement of dispatchers. They are supposed to have 8, and they can't seem to maintain that. They have recruited more as they go forward. Unfortunately, due to a retirement and the vacancies, they're having to backfill their normal positions, not the ones just for sick or vacation calls, with overtime. So that's driven their overtime up. It's partially offset by their savings and regular salaries, but they do need additional funds. So it would be $38,000 to Board of Health, $10,000 to facilities overtime, and $28,000 to public safety communications. The second transfer you have before you to consider came up yesterday. The engine 1 went out for some painting repairs, and as all things happen when you send a fire engine out to the repair shop, bad things come back on the report. So the $2,600 of partially covered warranty paint repairs came back as a $6,600 fix once they started taking the diamond plates off and saw the corrosion underneath. In addition to that, it came back with $7,700 of additional repairs that are needed, including almost $3,600 in air conditioning repairs that the chief has informed me are required. The pumper is required to have functioning air conditioning. So right now, it is in pieces at the shop. If we don't do a transfer, it will have to stay in pieces at the shop. If we do a transfer, they can authorize the repairs, and the engine will be brought back to town, hopefully in time for July 4th, in working order. And that is the conclusion of the 2 transfer requests, and hopefully the only transfer requests to the committee.
Okay, any discussion?
Quick question about, this is Lincoln, a quick question about the public safety communications in a broader sense. I know, Jim and Nancy, you know this, but I'm not sure if the committee's talked about it. There's been a real push from the state to go to regional public safety answering services, and there are large and very generous grants from the E911 from the state to do so. I mean, I can tell you that, for example, Hanover's going there, and probably the entirety of the town of Hanover's public safety answering services, once we go to another regional center, will be covered by the state for 3 and possibly 5 years. Just wondering, I know there's been discussion in the past about going to a regional center. I just wanted to get an idea about if that's in the cards at all for Scituate.
Very minimal discussions at this point. So.
Any reason not to do it? I mean, obviously the financial ramifications of it are great and huge. I understand there's operational reasons not to do it, but
You also just spent how much on a new public safety building?
$18 million.
We spent $18 million on a new public safety building with a brand new dispatch in it, so you'd be leaving a significant asset. I mean, Lincoln, I did this. I was the one who set up the Shrek. I was one of the original founders, so it's not like I'm not aware of how this works, but we just went to a combined dispatch a couple of years ago in Scituate. So baby steps. It's not off the table, but right now it's not something we're actively pursuing, but that could change.
no, I get it. I know you and Nancy know it well. I just thought the committee should be aware of that there is, it's a significant financial savings if we go there from a high level, but I understand exactly what you're saying. We just built a new center, and et cetera. I mean, is that, I know that is that room specifically, I mean, could it be repurposed at all? I know I'm not expecting an answer right now, but I'm just hoping people are thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be repurposed, but it would be significant cost to repurpose it.
Understood. Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on the year-end transfers? Hearing none.
Motion to accept the,
Wait,
As
sounds like
written-
somebody's trying to talk.
I just wanted to make sure, like, all these costs, I don't know if they could be under, reimbursed possibly under the CARES Act. Even if we do the transfers now, I don't care about that, but I'm sure, Nancy, because you're so good at what you do, any of these extra police and fire costs, if they, can be reimbursed, we're gonna try for that, right?
None of these particular ones can be. We may have facilities costs that will be. Right now, they've been doing everything within budget. So if it's within budget, you can't claim it, meaning that
Right out loud.
normal
All
budgeting
right.
hours.
One
but if
time
it-
we're within budget.
But trust me, if it's not pinned down and I can claim it as a COVID expense and stand behind it, it's on the claim.
Right, thanks.
Okay,
this is Jamie, motion to accept the transfers as written.
is there a second?
Second, Lincoln.
Okay, so we're voting now on the year-end transfers. Let's start in. Dan McGuigan,
Okay.
Linda Ferguson,
Yes,
Jamie Gilmore,
Aye.
Elise Russo,
Aye.
Lincoln Heineman,
Aye.
Mike Westort,
Aye.
Patrice Metro,
aye.
Jerry Kelly, aye. I declare it unanimous. Do we have any old business that we need to discuss? Do we have any new business that we need to discuss?
Just, I think your next meeting, when you're gonna meet on the day of town meeting.
Folks, we've got town meeting coming up June 27th at 9 a.m. at the football field. I think at 8:15, I'd like to have an advisory committee meeting that we will suspend at 9 o'clock at the start of town meeting, and then we will adjourn it after town meeting. Can everybody do that? And realize a quorum includes dial-in for that. Do we have the function? No, it doesn't for town meeting?
Town meeting, there will be any remote access, you'll have to be there.
Okay. So are we going to have a quorum at town meeting? I know that Elise cannot make it. I know that Mike cannot make it. Help me, can everybody else make it?
Yes,
Dan McGuigan, can you attend?
Yes, sir.
Linda Ferguson,
yes,
Jamie Gilmore,
Yes.
Lincoln Heineman,
Yes.
Patrice Metro.
yep.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll be there. We have a quorum, so thank you all.
Just so you will be sitting on the field. We'll have the advisory board, the selectmen will be on the field. There'll be about 200 seats in the field, and then between 150 and 200 seats in the stands. So that means, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on the field, you cannot wear heels. You have to wear flats.
Okay,
It's a good thing you're not going to be there,
Oh,
Mike.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go shopping then.
So the heels will puncture the barriers on the field, so no heels, and I would suggest sunscreen if it's going to be sunny.
Okay, any further discussion from any committee members? If not, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Okay, do I have to do a roll call? Okay. We're voting on adjourning. Dan McGuigan,
Adjourn.
Linda Ferguson,
Adjourn.
Jamie Gilmore,
Aye.
Elise Russo,
Aye.
Lincoln Heineman,
Aye.
Mike Westrord,
Aye.
Patrice Metro,
Aye.
Jerry Kelly, aye. Folks, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you a week from Saturday. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.